Repetition. So we like to see a sense of rhythm or movement. So repetition in photography is a great way to grab the attention of your audience and draw them into the image. Repetition, simply repeating a shape, an element, an object throughout the photo, and it gives instant composition, and it really can say a lot about the subject. So when we talk about repetition, it goes hand in hand with movement and rhythm. They coexist. So when we are talking about rhythm, it's the regular repeating occurrence of elements in the photograph. So it's that repetition of similar shapes that sets up the rhythm. And then it makes that whole composition easier. It makes it more enjoyable. And it's just an interesting way that we can use this element in our photography. Now, a key thing here to remember is that if our rhythm is too similar, it may get boring to look at. There's no excitement. So we want to look for repetition with variation. And that is how we get contrast, which creates a focal point. So you see all of these things kind of lead into one another. When we talk about rhythm, we have movement, and that's how the viewer's eye travels through a picture. Okay, so we repeat elements, which creates a rhythm, which creates movement, and if we add a little variation, we get contrast. So in this example, this may be a little bit too boring. Sure, we have repetition. We could say we have some rhythm. However, with no variation, it gets a little boring. There may be a slight variation in the size. Some of those flowers a little bit larger, but mostly it's pretty boring. Same here. Really no emphasis. One of those pelicans, one of the ducks, there's nothing that really draws us to one. So sure, we have repeated birds on this image, but there's nothing that draws us in. So it's a little bit boring. There's no focal point. Now, if we look at this example, so in this case, we have a lot of trees. This was taken in Sanibel, Florida. And there we found a little crab, and these little things were all over the trees. But you know what? We have repeated elements here. We've got a rhythm, pretty much a vertical rhythm there, but then all of a sudden there's some emphasis. There's something there that's different, and that draws us in for a focal point. So repeated elements is good. Just make sure that they don't produce a boring, stagnant image.